for sticking with us here on Adelante Chicago. Well, First Chicago recently conducted a survey with 400 youth. The goal was to gather firsthand knowledge of how youth are coping here in Chicago, what are the biggest challenges they're facing, and what resources they feel are needed for them to succeed. So here to share some of these findings of that survey are two men, Oniel Abreu, he's a director of data and impact at Better Chicago, and then along with him, Jonathan Chaparro, he is the head of the Chicago region at Braven. Thank you both for coming in. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, this is very interesting because as you said initially, oftentimes we hear the adults talking in the room about what kids need, but it's rare that we hear from kids.
Exactly.
Is that the reason why you guys decided to do this?
Absolutely, yes. At Better Chicago, we work with about 27 different organizations across the city, primarily that work with Black and brown youth on the south and west sides of the city. And so as you said, we definitely want to make sure that when we have conversations about what issues youth are facing nowadays, that we have them in the room and that we make sure that we take their perspectives to the forefront. And so with this survey, with that in mind, we wanted to make sure that we got that youth perspective and to gather their thoughts on like what opportunities they have available to them, what challenges they face, and then most importantly, what they believe are some of the resources and investments needed from the city to help further their own career paths and their own goals.
And I imagine with this data, you're able to sort of shape policy and resources and make those resources available depending on what community they're in,
Oh, absolutely.
Right?
And the big piece for that as well, we know that the elected school board is coming up this fall. We're about to have that for the first time in Chicago. And so we really want to be able to have this data, put it front and center to these elected officials who are going to be making some pretty key decisions for young people.
Okay, Jonathan, I want to bring you into the conversation.
Sure thing.
There's a lot of data in this report. What was the one thing that sort of stunned you, struck you, that you thought people really need to know about this?
I think the thing that really stood out to me is that 95% of respondents, despite the challenges that they faced and that they named as part of the survey, felt optimistic about their future. And so what that tells me is, and you see this in the report, right? Students want to pursue higher education, right? They want to achieve their dreams. And so to me, the question becomes, right? How do we really help make that become a reality for as many students as possible?
That's so great. That's a great number. 94% of them say they feel optimistic, like things are going to turn out their way. I love that. Let's talk about some of the numbers that did not fare so well, right? And that's when we talk about the issue of mental health. What did you find there?
Yeah, so again, pretty similar to the optimistic side. 94%, almost all of the respondents cited mental health and well-being as a major concern of theirs in their age brackets. And so we also saw that of that 94% who said that mental health was a big issue, only half of them had ever even been offered or had experiences with getting mental health services. And so that's definitely an area of concern that we're really digging into a little bit more. Another interesting fact is that about 2/3 of the respondents actually said that they witnessed crime in their own communities. And so that could take the form of fights, of shootings, and other types of violent crime. And even more saddening is actually that 1/4 of those respondents said that they saw violence weekly. And so that's definitely something that we also are trying to dig into a little bit more and see how we can impact some of the statistics and how that shapes, again, their trajectories in life as well.
That is so sad to hear. Yeah. Okay, so with this data, as we talk about that they witness violence weekly, what sorts of resources or tools can you give them to address those issues?
Yeah. So of the 94% or 95% of the respondents who said that, again, that they were optimistic, we saw that about 1/4 or 3/4 of them were actually engaging in community-based programming. And so across all of our respondents, we saw a huge hunger and almost like a demand for more community-based programming across the city. And so we're hoping, and we fund, again, a number of different organizations that work with youth and educational outcomes from early childhood all the way through choosing your career.
Okay.
But that's really what they want more of, and specifically they spoke a lot about actually non-school-based programming being something they're looking more for. And in addition to that, they're also looking for more programs that provide them with more real-life skill-building opportunities, and so that includes one-on-one mentorship, internship experiences, or just opportunities to, again, be prepared for careers. And so we're really excited to partner with organizations like Braven that really tackle that issue head on.
Okay, yeah, it's so the issue of mentorship is so important. Did you guys notice any difference between, let's say, a Latino neighborhood, a Black neighborhood, a predominantly white neighborhood? Were there any differences in those three?
The major one that I think we saw, and was more about just like in terms of race and gender, we actually saw that Latina females actually felt that there were less programs out there and available for them that catered to their interests. And so that's a major concern of ours. Again, we work with youth surveying organizations. And so we're actually building currently some focus groups to dig into that data a little bit more and find out specifically from that group of young women what it is that they would like to see more of that caters to their interests.
I think that's so interesting because Latinas are going to college and graduating college at a much higher rate, but yet they don't feel like they have the resources in place to do that. Let's talk about Braven and how people can get involved, what they should know about it. Sort of give us your 30-second pitch on it.
Absolutely. So Braven works with college students, specifically those that are the first in their families to go to college, those coming from humble beginnings, to support them in that transition from college into the professional workforce. So we know that typically students coming from humble beginnings earn 66 cents to the dollar when compared to their higher income peers. And so what we do is help those students develop the skills, the mindsets, the social capital, and the experiences, so things like internships, that will really help these students land jobs that will put them on a path to upward economic mobility. And so all of that is fueled by volunteer professionals that mentor our students and help really contextualize the things that they're learning in the classroom and really bring them to life.
Okay, sounds good, gentlemen. Thank you for putting this report together. Hopefully it helps shape the conversation as we move forward here in the next few years. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, and the information right there on your screen, if you want to take a look at the report, perhaps you want to learn a little bit more about Braven. It's a betterchicago.org. Braven, I imagine your website is Braven.
BeBraven.org.
There you go. All right, thank you.